Hello, my friends and enemies. Welcome everybody who wants to hear my story, my narrative, who is interested in my thinking. Everybody is welcome on my channel. It's not the best moment for me. Maybe I won't be too much smiling because I am just straight after debate with Jay Dyer and Tristan. I consider it a disaster. I would like to share with you my very first impression, what actually happened and what was my goal and what was my idea to talk about with Jay, especially with Jay, because I think he is the original source also of Tristan's views. So I'd rather consider Tristan as a naive boy who has no idea what evil he just subscribed to. But what I could have realized is that Jay is evil. He was really mean. His only argument against me was I was mentally ill. So I can make official claim that objectively I am not. Objectively speaking, by modern standard of psychology and psychiatry, I am not mentally ill. Like I told you, as a mother of autistic child, I've been in constant touch with the best psychologists and psychiatrists all the time, especially that a child cannot visit a psychiatrist or any doctor by himself, always must be assisted by the parents. So I've been always visiting psychiatrists and psychologists with him and had many conversations. And also on the side myself, I took many psychological tests just to make sure whether my cognitive functions are still at a good level. As you know, as a former golden child, I would expect to keep them above average, and tests are proving that yes, fortunately my cognitive functions are still much above average, and I have no symptoms of any mental disorder. Actually, I was said by psychologists that they envy me my psychological structure. And I think so. Like comparing to many guys I've met in my life, I see how weak they are. Whatever stands on their way, they get despaired, depressed, or they feel helpless so easily. While I have always, whenever I meet a burden and an obstacle on my way, I have always like hundreds of ideas what to do, and I'm never getting depressed. So my structure is fine. I don't complain, and objectively, I am not mentally ill. What was the only argument in a debate from Jay Dyer? He was really mean, I can say. He was also mean in his attempt to humiliate me, also in this way that he said I was begging for this debate. No, I was not begging, because I can even show you my email. I proposed a debate. I sent the same email to Jay and to Tristan that when I was proposing, I will tell you why. Also, I will explain why. And I was proposing, and both of them responded me within maybe an hour, very fast. And this was not the problem, but even this attempt to humiliate, even in this way, to claim that she was begging, it says how low quality person he is. I must tell you that me, no matter whether I am dealing with carnivores, anti-vegans, ex-vegans, vegans, I always keep some standard. I think I'm always loyal to people who had never done any harm towards me. I always assume maybe this person is mistaken. I don't know the story of this person, so I'm never enemy to the new person, even if he or she is from the opposite side, representing opposite side. So I don't accept such very low tricks. No. I will explain you why I wanted to debate them. Because, in fact, veganism in context of religions is one of the main topics of my channel, and I have already shot multiple videos on this topic in my language, in Polish, and now I want to start, and actually I have already started this topic also in English. I've had this debate on God's existence just a short time ago, and on Monday I'm having another debate with a Christian YouTuber on whether it is moral for Christian to eat meat or not. So I am going to continue this topic, and I will do many videos on this topic. And I also want to encourage all atheists, all vegan atheists, please necessarily follow this whole series, and don't avoid those topics just because you are atheist. Just like I said, just listen to this narrative as to metaphor, literature, doesn't matter, because the meaning, the inner psychological meaning, spiritual meaning, no matter how you call it, the narrative is so important, because most people of the world, they hold some faith, and we must deal with it. So I think this is very important, and please don't avoid this topic. I am going to make many videos, and actually I see Jay, Dyer and Tristan, like additionally Tristan, but mainly it seems that mainly Jay, they got in my way. He is standing there, so I knew that I will have to deal with Jay. I will have to debunk his videos, his claims. He said lots of idiotic things about veganism, and I knew that sooner or later I must start dealing with this. I will have to debunk them. And I thought it's better to start from conversation. I didn't want to start from attacking, from debunking, because maybe they are not aware, or they have subscribed to, they are not aware what evil they are supporting. So my plan for today's meeting was to say as little as possible, just a little bit of something. I hope us to analyze Jesus' words together, because actually Jesus is presenting exactly the same point of view as I have. So I wanted us together to read Jesus' words, discuss them. As simple as that, and as little as that. But I was not allowed to read Jesus' words. They didn't let me. Of course, I will read Jesus' words many times. I've been contemplating his standpoint, his attitude, his thinking for years. I was a monk. I was much deeper in Christian spirituality than Jay. I understand probably much better Jesus' thinking, and I will be presenting it on this channel. But let's start just from some very basic stuff. Okay, I'm reading. Again, I will tell you that this biblical vocabulary is difficult for me. I hope I will read it correctly. Now it's Matthew chapter 7. I'm sure you all know those words. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. Like Jay today appeared, ferocious wolf. By their fruit you will recognize them. This is very important. This is also argument I was trying to come up with in today's debate. By their fruit you will recognize them. It's Jesus' words. They are not valid for Jay. They were telling me that I have no right to judge which is good, which is wrong, because there are some other guys bigger than me, more important than me. They have rights. I must listen to church fathers. I must listen to bishops. Of course, as a response, I said that those guys, the fruit of their teaching is very bloody. So I don't want to listen to, for example, the guy like Patriarch Kirill of Moscow, who is patriarch of, I may pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry, Patriarch of Moscow and all Rus. This guy has opinion of a gangster. Russians claim that he doesn't worship God, he's worshipping Putin. And his influence and his involvement with politics is absolutely deep. He also committed many crimes. He's typical gangster. So why should I believe gangster who I don't know personally? I just assume 99.9999999% this guy is wrong. On the other hand, I have my intuition. I have contemplated Jesus' way of thinking, which I can apply on many everyday life situations. And for me, this is better, more correct way. So I have many more reasons to believe even myself than this guy. Tristan was trying to misinterpret my words. He said that I'm accusing them, personally him as Tristan, for having blood on his hand. No, I said patriarchs of Orthodox Church have a lot of blood on their hands, so they are no authority to me. This is what I said. This was my claim. They are no authority. Because this is main Jay's point. I have no right, in his opinion, no right to talk about God. I must say who is my authority. So I don't subscribe to this way of thinking. I wanted us to focus on Jesus' words, which I was completely not allowed. Okay, so let's read further. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Not sure how to read it, thistles. Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So basically, I will read to you just in a minute what is the fruit of Orthodox bishops. So basically, what would Jesus do with Orthodox Church and those Cyril, Kirill, no matter how you call him in English? He would throw him into the fire. With this whole Orthodox Church, every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus, by their fruit, you will recognize them. Okay, so those are Jesus' words. I didn't even mean to start from those words, because I wanted to start this debate as delicately, as friendly as possible. Okay, so let's now check the fruit of Orthodox Church. As you know, I'm Polish, and you shouldn't be surprised that I am distancing myself from organized forms of religion while being a believer. I do believe in God. I think I did a good job in a debate where I presented some really strong arguments for the existence of God. They haven't been debunked yet. Maybe I will have another debate another time. We will see. But if we look at the fruit of organized religions, can we trust those guys we either don't know? Because I don't know those church fathers. I have no idea whether they were gangsters, killers, or they were good people. Why should I believe them more than God talking directly to me and what God is telling to me through my nature, my empathy, or natural instincts He embedded to me, like mirror neurons, which are responsible for empathy? Why? Why should I believe guys who I don't know more than myself and God speaking directly to me? So there are guys which I don't know, but there are also guys which we do know, and we do know how terrible were those guys. So as Polish nation, we have suffered from one side the genocide by Nazi Germans, who were blessed by Catholic Pope. So we were betrayed. As a Catholic nation, Catholic Christian nation, we had been betrayed by Catholic Christian Pope who blessed Nazi Germans and blessed their attack on our nations. But on the other side, from the another side, we were attacked also by Orthodox Ukrainians. And you may not know if you are not Polish, but all Polish know that those Orthodox guys blessed by Orthodox bishops, they were devils. Their actions were so demonic, it cannot be compared with Germans. It was so easy and fast for Polish people to forgive Germans, to make peace. But until now, the atrocities from Orthodox Ukrainians are not forgiven. Because Germans were killing, while Orthodox believers were torturing to death. Those were especially sadistic murders, genocide on a huge amount of Polish population. Let me read from the Wikipedia about methods. What methods were being promoted by Orthodox Church? Because, in fact, bishops were taking active part and role in this genocide. They were blessing them, they were inspiring them. All the meeting, gathering to inspire those savages to all those sadistic attacks were taking place in Orthodox churches. And again I will say, and blessed by Orthodox bishops. So before I start this, just think about it. Why Orthodox Church is especially against veganism? There is no such strong opposition from Catholic Church. In Catholic Church, there are actually different people. There are many vegans in Catholic Church, even famous Catholics. For example, during our last presidential election, number 3 candidate was famous as a Christian advocate, very active Christian, Catholic, always active on media, talking on behalf of church, and at the same time is very extreme vegan. He wrote even the book titled God's Animals, and he is famous for his statement that after death it will be animals who will be judging us. It makes a lot of sense. So it seems that Catholic Church is a little bit more advanced in being humane. For me, not enough. Therefore, I cannot support organized religion. They are a bit too far behind the morality. So I prefer to pray directly to God, and I am in touch with God, what probably makes me mentally ill in the opinion of Jay Dyer. Okay, let's read about practices blessed by Orthodox bishops. Attacks on Poles during the massacre in Volhynia and eastern Galicia were marked as extreme sadism and brutality by historians. Yeah? Rape, torture, and mutilation were commonplace. Poles were burned alive, flayed, impaled, crucified, disemboweled, dismembered, and beheaded. Women were gang raped and had their breasts sliced off. Children were hacked to pieces with axes. Babies, little babies. Babies were impaled on bayonets. I'm not sure how to read it, I'm sorry. Were impaled on bayonets and pitchforks or bashed against trees. So if Orthodox Christians don't mind doing such things to human babies, You cannot expect them to support veganism, to understand veganism. There was recently a movie, Volhynia. You may check it. There is also English title, Hatred. You can get this movie on Amazon. It's a very good movie about this genocide in Volhynia. Please check it. This was much more brutal than Rwanda genocide, much more sadistic. All inspired by Orthodox Church. So you have seen such, for example, scenes like small children. They put hay on them and to burn them. They enjoy watching burning kids. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this degree of sadism? Is it weird that Jay Dyer is opposing veganism? He supports Orthodox Church. I continue reading. The atrocities were carried out indiscriminately and without restraint. The victims, regardless of their age or gender. And this is also the big difference between Nazi Germans and Orthodox Ukrainians. Nazi Germans were seldom cruel to children. Very often they are known for giving sweets to Polish children. Many people have such memories. They were not that often cruel towards children and women. They rather focused on men and, of course, on so-called chosen nation. They were not that cruel by their nature, we would say. Okay, but here, in this case, the victims were regardless of their age and gender, and were routinely tortured to death. So, while Nazi Germans were killing people, Orthodox Ukrainians were torturing to death. Norman Davies in No Simple Victory gives a short but shocking description of the massacre. Villages were torched. Roman Catholic priests were axed or crucified. Churches were burned with all their parishioners. Isolated farms were attacked by gangs carrying pitchforks and kitchen knives. Throats were cut. Pregnant women were bayoneted, not sure how to read it. Children were cut in two. Children were cut in two. No wonder that Jay Dyer accepts slaughterhouses and gas chambers, because his fellow even cut human children in two. Men were ambushed in the field and led away. So those are basically fruit of Orthodox Church. So those guys were using the Bible to cover his atrocities. They are doing exactly the same what Jay Dyer is doing right now, using the Bible to cover his cruelty towards animals. He's making jokes at vegans. I think Jesus hates this. I'm sure Jesus will tell him, I don't know you. Jay Dyer is doing exactly the same what Orthodox bishops were doing during that genocide. They were using the Bible. They were giving their God's blessing. They were sure they are speaking on behalf of God, same as contemporary Cyril or Kirill, no matter how you pronounce it, of Patriarch of Moscow is doing. But all Russians know that he is worshipping Putin, not God. He has nothing to do with God. I will not read those very gentle words which I meant to read during today's debate for Jay. I wanted to read some really gentle words of Jesus and hoped together we can think about it, discuss what he means, what's the meaning of the word, because we can easily judge what's Jesus' attitude towards veganism by those words, by his mindset. I was not allowed, and I will not do it now, but for sure I will read on another occasion, maybe in this upcoming debate with a Christian YouTuber I'm going to have next week. Maybe he won't be as furious, as demonic as Jay, and we will have a chance to have a reasonable discussion. Thank you very much for today's attention, and I will get back to you soon. Bye bye.